Day to day, on average, I honestly don't read that much, even though reading and books are a big passion of mine. I've been really enjoying watching videos like these because it's cool to see how people incorporate reading into their own personal lives and how they balance it with other aspects.
This is the best day of my life.
As with anything, balance is really, really important. So I try to do a little bit of everything every day just because that's when I feel best. Obviously, there's periods where I'm just completely engrossed in the act of reading, and that's the only thing that I could do for days, and I just become hyper fixated on it. But I would not say that that's my usual. There are a couple things that, if I incorporate them into my morning, I just end up feeling so much better. And that includes studying, doing some yoga, and reading. It doesn't have to be a lot, it could just be 10 minutes, but I just like starting my day off with reading. It also just makes it a lot more likely for me to continue picking up the book as the day progresses. The two books that you'll see me reading here are The Book Thief, which is a historical fiction book, and also Le Lièvre, which is a book in French, and it consists of fables from Senegal. I've been trying to improve my French, and this book is perfect because it's written for children. Yesterday I read for about 53 minutes, which is pretty good, honestly. Although I do try to read every day, that doesn't always happen. I also wanted to ask you guys a question. On average, how much time do you spend reading in one day? And do you wish that that number was more, maybe less? Let me know. And also, are you currently enjoying whatever book you're currently reading? Yesterday, I read for around an hour and 43 minutes. And in the morning, I actually didn't get any reading in. I decided to do some yoga study before the hospital. I didn't really have time to do much else. But after we finished consultations, I had some time to actually read at the hospital, and then I spent some of the evening reading as well. One of the books I'm currently reading is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I read this one other book of his back in high school, I Am the Messenger, and I felt okay about it. I remember the ending stuck with me, but other than that, it was just all right. But I am liking this a lot more. The Book Thief takes place in Nazi Germany, and you follow this little girl. Her name is Liesel. I'm not sure how to say that properly. And she likes to steal books. She loves words, she loves reading. And the story is narrated by Death, which gives you a bunch of really cool lines. For the most part, I really like the writing. There are parts where I feel like it might be overwritten a bit or trying really hard, if that makes sense. But there are also a lot of lines that just stick with me. And so overall, I would say I like it. I only have about 100 pages left, so I should be finishing this soon.
I hope I.
I just got back from the gym. We're gonna make a mango smoothie, protein smoothie. I think one of the big things that helps me get in more reading is just making my reading as accessible as possible. I've also instilled it in my brain that a page is still considered reading, a paragraph is still considered reading. So, regardless of how little reading I did, it's still enough. One quote that I really liked from The Book Thief was, I wanted to tell the book thief many things. about beauty and brutality. But what could I tell her about those things that she didn't already know? I wanted to explain that I am constantly overestimating and underestimating the human race, that rarely do I ever simply estimate it. I wanted to ask her how the same thing could be so ugly and so glorious, and its words and stories so damning and brilliant. It's Friday, the end of the week, and I did not read anything at all today. It's 7:30 p.m., but I'm gonna read right now. I spent some of my Friday and my weekend reading I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman whenever I can. As I've mentioned, my weekend was pretty packed, but I would read it while in the car or just going from one place to another. The book is a dystopian science fiction book which follows a group of girls held captive in a cage underground. The cage is guarded by men, and it is unknown to the girls and the reader why they are being kept there and why it is only women. Within the cage, there are 39 older women and one young child. The story is told from the perspective of the child. All this girl has ever known is the cage. She has no understanding of the ways of the world before this, no understanding of the concepts of the things that were once so important to people's daily lives. The parts of the book I liked most were those revolving loneliness, community, and what it means to be human. We often idolize isolation. I see it done often in the context of artists and scientists in particular, but I doubt it's possible to live a fulfilling life completely alone. Some of the quotes that I really liked are, "Perhaps you never have time when you are alone. You only acquire it by watching it go by in others." To a certain extent, most people want to be perceived. But what about feeling seen makes us feel more real, makes our life experiences feel more real? Another quote that stuck with me is, "What does having lived mean once you are no longer alive?" It's a question that I wish I knew the answer to. I'm inclined to believe that it doesn't mean anything at all, but perhaps I'm wrong. The last two quotes from this book that I'll be sharing are related to memory. I've always been fascinated by memory because it contributes quite a bit to who we become as individuals, but at the same time, it's so malleable and easily changeable. We rarely, if ever, store information accurately. The emotions that we're feeling and the thoughts that we're having have a great influence in the way that memory is stored. Honestly, the thought that I might lose certain memories or that I've already lost some terrifies me, and that's still something that I'm learning how to navigate, I guess. It's just part of the human experience. But the first quote is, "They'd had husbands, lovers, and children. As a result of being too afraid to think about them because it was so painful, they'd forgotten almost everything." And the second quote is, "Inevitably, with memory comes pain." Before I end the video, I just wanted to say that most of my weekends don't look like this. I definitely had less time to read this weekend than usual, but that's okay. I still finished one really good book, I Who Have Never Known Men. But honestly, I had so much fun, and I also had fun making this video, and so I'll probably be making more of these.